25 minutes before the hour now, and the world has to cut greenhouse gas emissions in half. And about 80% of that burden falls on the United States and other so-called rich nations around the world. That's what we expect to come out of this global climate change summit that takes place in Copenhagen next week. As that debate hits what could be a climax, scientists say much of the evidence supporting climate change theories is now gone, dumped, destroyed, tossed out in the trash. Andrea Tantaros is a conservative columnist and a FoxNews.com contributor. Nancy Skinner is a radio talk show host. Both ladies with me now, and good morning to you. I think people want to know the truth on this. I think it's the bottom line as we debate this. So let's debate what we think we know. Andrea, in this world economy, cutting emissions by 80%, how's that going to go down with our economic climate, so to speak, right now?
Well, what we know by looking at what Congress has tried to do with the cap-and-trade bill in Washington is, according to the Heritage Foundation, this will cost about 1.9 million jobs. These are jobs that we desperately need, and 2.5 million jobs by 2025, according to the Heritage Foundation. This type of legislation will also, Bill, cost the average American household $829 a year just on energy costs, and will cause gas prices to go up 58%.
Where are you getting your numbers, Andrea?
From from the Heritage Foundation.
Okay, Nancy, I'll give you a shot in a second here. That's a lot. 1.9 million jobs? What about that, Nancy? 2.5 over the next 10 to 15 years?
I'll tell you what, Bill. I helped launch the Chicago Climate Exchange years ago, okay, so in cap and trade. Here's what happens. It's exactly the opposite of what Andrea is saying, because what we did that back then in '92 with the Clean Air Act, put a cap on just utilities, and what happened was people then anticipated this would happen, new technologies were invented, and new jobs were created, and the cost of bringing down sulfur dioxide at that time was a fraction of it. Now with global warming, it's going to be just the opposite. We're going to create so many jobs in the green energy sectors, smart grids, new technologies, jobs that we cannot ship over to China.
I'll let you finish. What is a green job, by the way? Define that.
Anything that uses alternative energy, so smart grids, new chips that are being developed for this, anything with wind, solar, geothermal technologies. All our houses are going to be built differently. The whole grid structure is going to be different. Those are good jobs we cannot ship to Chicago. And it is the special interests like Andrea who have tried to distort the science for 3 decades in order to perpetuate the oil industry's commercial.
Ladies, you're on opposite sides of this argument now, and I'm diametrically opposed.
Nancy, first of all, I'm not a
hang on one second,
interest.
Andrea. Viewers are trying to figure out the facts in all this. And what we have now is that the raw data has been thrown out from these climatologists studying this issue over in the UK. Critics have long sought this information. Now it doesn't exist. Andrea, how do we figure it out?
Yeah, that's the most troubling thing, is that right as we're about to go to Copenhagen and Barack Obama is about to pledge these commitments of reducing these emissions, while we don't even know if other countries are really going to keep to their pledge, this group of scientists have completely destroyed information. Then they are the keepers of this global warming information. This is where other researchers go to compare facts. And this is exactly what I'd like to call climactic thuggery, Bill. You have one scientist who writes that he wants to beat another scientist up. Anyone who's skeptical, Bill, this group of researchers around the globe, these people who are trying to perpetuate the global warming myth, have tried to keep other skeptics out of publications. They've threatened to boycott publications that write anything that might disprove global warming. Hold on, Nancy. And in one of these emails, one scientist writes, "It is a travesty that we have not been able to show any recent evidence of global warming, an absolute travesty."
So they have the summary based on the data they collected, but they don't have the original data. Nancy, does that make you kind of shake your head and scratch a little bit and think, what's up?
No, I think what Andrea said is just a complete and utter ridiculous falsehood. What happened was, first of all, a federal crime. Someone hacked into the emails, and they've been completely taken out of context. That's Kevin Trenberth that she's talking about, and he's talking about about a temporary cooling in January in Colorado. The vast majority of scientists across the world have agreed that this is happening, and because a lovable buffoon like Rush Limbaugh wants to get on the air and make some sort of ratings scandal out of this, people are going to take his word, a high school dropout, over the word of the entire
I don't know how you bring in
Wow.
Rush Limbaugh in our conversation,
Yeah,
frankly.
because he's been
Look, ladies,
perpetuating it.
here's the deal on this latest story. It looks bad, okay, Andrea? It looks bad. But does that mean that global warming is a myth necessarily?
Well, look, Bill, whether you think global warming is a myth or not, the issue at hand is whether or not we should be pushing these onerous tax burdens onto the American people to fix it. So you take about $2,000 a year, put on every American family, then you couple
Not
that.
true.
Then you
You're
couple
just
that.
lying.
Hold on,
You're
Nancy.
lying. Andrea,
Then you
you're lying.
Nancy, you've already insulted Rush
can't-
Limbaugh.
No, you can't.
Let
you
me
cannot.
speak,
I tell you
please.
what.
Nancy,
this is
Nancy,
about,
I'll give you your shot. Finish up, Andrea.
All right.
Down, girl, down. If you put that burden on an American family, $2,000 in taxes, which is fact, this is what cap and trade will do. You're talking about a green jobs bubble, essentially. Then you take health care costs, Bill. Then you take the Bush tax cuts expiring in 2011, and you have a huge burden, $7,000 or $8,000 on every American family.
I hear
Nancy,
your point.
You
You're
can't
wondering
do
whether or
this.
not we can
How can
afford this.
Andrea-
Nancy, I've got 15 seconds.
How can
Based on what
claim
Andrea's
that
laying
she
out
knows
there, can we afford
exactly
it?
from the Heritage Foundation? This is ridiculous. This is how that it's a fact. This is how we are going to create the green jobs that are going to rescue our economy, and we're not dependent on Middle Eastern foreign rogue regimes where we send our boys to war because we have the power and the alternative energy to create those jobs and our own energy. And don't listen to the skeptics who are paid by the industry like Andrea and the rest of them.
Wow.
Nancy, I am not paid by
Wow.
any industry. Thank you.
Ladies, to be continued, okay? Thanks for a spirited debate.
Thanks,
the
Bill.
truth is in there somewhere. Nancy, Andrea, hope you enjoyed your turkey.
I did.
Did you, Nancy?
I did. Loved
Nicely
it.
done.
Thanks, Bill.
See you later. Here's Patty Ann.